All-Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. On this edition of the All-Around Joe podcast, I'm going to be talking about what I am taking right now and why. And what I mean by that is mostly what are the supplements or little hack type things that I am taking right now or ingesting or rubbing on my body and why I'm taking those. I get asked about this all the time. And if you are a subscriber to my Feel Good Friday emails, which I highly recommend that you do, if you just head over to allaroundjoe.com, you will see a pop-up that will get you into the Feel Good Friday emails. Just opt into any of the lists there and you'll be good to go. But what I share on those emails is what I've found during the week that's just interesting stuff. It could be like my latest podcast. It could be what I've been testing as a supplement lately. It could be some new cool food that I've found or new recipe. It could be some awesome video that I was watching or a book that I've been reading that I like and think I should recommend to everybody. It's just cool stuff that I find every single week that I share with people, because I'm constantly looking to learn, looking to try new things, and if it's cool, I want to share it with you. So that's what I share in my Feel Good Friday emails, and I had someone ask me the other day what it was that I have been taking lately as far as my supplementation to be more productive, perform better, etc. And I realized that because of the Feel Good Friday emails, and I have constantly been finding new and interesting things, I never or rarely get the chance to just give you everything that I'm doing at this time, because I'm constantly dripping out one or two things as they come up in those particular emails. So here's my chance to share with you my complete list of kind of like supplements and other stimulants and recovery products and all that interesting stuff that I'm doing. So I'm going to get into that in depth in just a second. But before I do so, this podcast today is brought to you by Audible. Yes, by Audible. And as you guys know, if you've been listening to this podcast at all or you follow my Feel Good Friday emails, I am a book consumer like crazy. I usually get through about one book a week, and the majority of those books are coming from Audible. So I am a huge fan of Audible for nonfiction and fiction. I've been a member for a few years now, and Audible is just a great way for me to consume more, because I don't know about you, but I am a pretty darn busy person. So what I do is I usually get up in the morning and pop in my headphones, and I have about 30 minutes or so when I'm kind of like waking up, going through my breathing routine and making my breakfast and coffee, where I get to consume a book. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I had to physically read it. Then anytime that I'm in the car, I'm consuming a book. And also if I'm out on a run or a walk, I have my headphones in and I'm getting that book read. It's a great way of getting through a lot of cool information, and Audible allows you to do that. So Audible has allowed me to give you a free audiobook, and all you have to do is go to allaroundjoe.com/audible and you'll get yourself a free audiobook. So one audiobook, if you're wondering like what should I listen to, that I would highly recommend is Chasing Excellence. That's Chasing Excellence by Ben Bergeron. So go to allaroundjoe.com/audible and search for Chasing Excellence by Ben Bergeron. It's a great book on getting your mind right, how you should be thinking about life, and he tells the story of the CrossFit Games. So it's very interesting, especially if you're an athlete or a CrossFitter, and you can go to allaroundjoe.com/audible to get yourself a free book. All right, let's get into what I'm taking right now and why. So this is fun for me because I always love the little 1% hacks. You know, it's like what makes us successful is more about, having our diet in check, having our workout routine in check, making sure that we're getting enough sleep, and then we get to add all of these interesting things that help us to propel us forward. For example, let's take this podcast as an example. Every single week that I come to sit down and produce this podcast, if I am more excited about what I'm going to talk about, then it comes through in the podcast. Then I, write up the show notes faster. Then all of this stuff is more interesting for me to talk about, and in turn, more interesting for you to hear about. So if I'm taking particular supplements in order to get me jazzed up and get me excited and get me focused, then it's going to produce a better product. And that also helps for workouts, right? A lot of people have gotten into taking these pre-workout supplements and whatnot. A lot of times that's just a bunch of caffeine that you're dumping into your body in order to get you focused and essentially excited, stimulated for your workout. But it works for some people and doesn't necessarily work for others. But these are the types of things that I am putting into my lifestyle in order to get to that next little bit, but what I'm saying here is that none of these things are going to get you, amazing abs by themselves, or not going to make you, superhuman, or make you think really, really well just by themselves. You have to have the diet, the nutrition, the sleep, the exercise routine, the working hard, all that stuff has to be there. And then adding these particular things can make a pretty big difference. So I'm going to start off first with my morning. And in my morning routine, I hop up out of bed, put in my headphones, start listening to my audiobook. Then I grab a 32-ounce bottle of water, and then I start taking my supplements. So the first supplement that I take is something called Perfect Aminos by Body Health. And Perfect Aminos are great because back a few years ago when I was having adrenal fatigue problems and I found out my body was not digesting protein properly. So when I take these Perfect Aminos, they actually don't have to go through the whole digestive process. I just get to absorb the essential amino acids that my body needs in order to recover from workouts, to build tissue, basically to just work better. So I take 5 of these Perfect Aminos first thing in the morning when I get up, and it is actually not only the greatest amino acid supplement that I've taken, I have gotten rid of protein powders as a workout supplement altogether, because the reason that you're taking those is for the amino acids. So why not just go straight to the source and take the amino acids? So as you'll hear in a minute, I just take a whole bunch of amino acids rather than having any kind of protein shakes, and I have for a few years. And I swear to you, it helps me recover twice as fast, at least from soreness and such, than any protein shake that I've ever had. So highly recommend checking out Body Health Perfect Aminos. And while we're on the topic, a lot of these supplement companies I'll actually go to, or supplement companies that I really like, I'll go to and try and partner with them to see if I can get codes for you listeners out there so that you can get a discount. Perfect Amino is one of those. You can use the code AllAroundJoe and it will get you a discount. The next thing that I take is a multivitamin, and before I get into the multivitamin and which multivitamin I'm taking, I want to say that I usually try to take multivitamins 5 out of 7 days a week, so I don't take them in super religiously. I want to force my body to not have to rely upon the multivitamin all the time, and I've talked to several really top athletes that don't take multivitamins at all. They take them when they remember, so I think that it's not as important, or I don't want you to get so hung up on a multivitamin that you take it so often that your body's not absorbing things properly from your foods. So I think it's important to have one, but I like to be on a routine where I don't take it all the time, or I'll take it 5 days on and then 5 days off, or I'll take it, usually it ends up being like 4 or 5 days on and then 2 to 3 days off is how I end up taking it. And the multivitamin that I take is something called Triumph. It's a Triumph multivitamin, and it's from a company called Legion. I just picked mine up at Amazon.com, and I should also mention, I'm going to put the links to all of these things that I'm taking, along with the discount codes, in the show notes, and the show notes are over at allaroundjoe.com/134. Can't believe I've done 134 podcasts now, but yep, you can pick up the show notes at allaroundjoe.com/134. The next supplement that I take is actually one that came up because of my blood testing, and it's a supplement called berberine. And I take Amazing Formulas berberine, which I also get at Amazon.com. The reason that I take this supplement is mostly because of it it helps to support glucose metabolism. So I've noticed in the last few blood tests, actually majority of the blood tests, although it's been getting better, that my fasting blood glucose is a little bit higher than I would like it to be. So I've been taking berberine in order to help to kind of level out the fasting blood glucose, and that is why I take the berberine. So it may not be the exact right supplement for you unless you're doing the blood testing, and I usually talk about Inside Tracker as my preferred source to get all of your blood testing needs done for performance things and, you know, everyday life type stuff. So berberine is something that popped up on that. So that's why I take the berberine. The next up is a more of a fun supplement, although you should look at like, hey, you know, if I'm doing my blood testing and something's off, like, and I can take berberine, it makes that get tuned back in. That will give you more performance results than just about any of these other things. So it's really important that you know what your body needs and that you supplement and have a lifestyle that is going to help that out, and that's going to get you the major gains rather than piling on these things that are just essentially supplementals. So the next thing that I take is something called Natural Stack Seal Tep, and what this does is it helps me to think better, be more focused. It's actually a nootropic or nootropic or however you like to say it. So I take it for mental performance, and I've found that this is about the second or third bottle of the Seal Tep that I've been taking, so I like it enough to continue using it. The interesting thing is that I've noticed that it didn't really affect me when I first took it. So it took about 3 or 4 or 5 days of taking it before I noticed that I had it in my body, and I felt like I was actually being able to focus more. But if you're looking for a mental edge, I do recommend it. I think it's a cool product. I'm stacking with that from Natural Stacks, funny enough, something called acetylcholine brain food. And this is designed to help your body to help your brain work better. So mental processing, think mental processing. And the way that I've been describing it, or how it has been working for me, is, you know, when you have that feeling, you have a topic or a name or something on the tip of your tongue and you can't quite grasp it, but you can, it's like you can see somebody's face but you can't think of their name. When I'm taking the Natural Stacks acetylcholine brain food, I'm getting that recognition right away. So there is something that's definitely happening there that is helping you to get those words and thoughts out and reference them really quickly. So I do like the acetylcholine brain food. I think it's great for that. The other thing that I'm taking, and I kind of take this on a less than regular basis, is the Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee with lion's mane and chaga. So if I'm looking to get a super boost, I'll take a pack of that and I'll put it in my coffee. So it does have a little bit of caffeine in it, I believe 50 milligrams. So you have to notice that if you are very sensitive to caffeine, you may not need it in your coffee. You could just have it by itself, and it just tastes like instant coffee. So it doesn't taste bad at all, but I definitely have a mental performance increase when I am taking the Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee. I just don't necessarily believe in taking any of these things all the time, pretty much with the exception of the amino acids. So I'm, sometimes going on, sometimes going off. And the way that I will also do that for cycling is that if you run out of a bottle, rather than having it on the auto ship on Amazon or whatever, you don't order it right away. So you have a week or so where you're not taking it, and that's fine. You may have a less than optimal performance week, or maybe it'll be fine and you'll notice that you don't really need it, or it just gives you that extra boost, so it's cool to have. But I don't recommend taking any of these things all the time, like I said, except for the amino acids, because those are just the proteins that are, in their essential amino acid form, and we're getting that from protein that we're eating all the time, so it's just like something that we would be getting whether or not you're taking that. So those are the supplements that I take in the morning, pretty much all first thing when I get up on an empty stomach. Well, kind of an empty stomach. With the multivitamins, you're not necessarily supposed to take them on an empty stomach, but because the amino acids are in my system, I've noticed that the multivitamin doesn't bother me at all. So I take it, quote unquote, on an empty stomach with the amino acids. Then in the afternoon, I might have another coffee or some other caffeine source. I just really like caffeine as, a business helper, helps me to get more done. But it also helps with workouts. So I took about 1.5 years off where I had zero stimulants at all. And then I brought coffee and some caffeinated products back in, and I noticed that I'm just way more productive. I'm able to think much better with it, so that's why I put it back in. I have usually 1 to 2 caffeinated beverages per day, no more than that. And so in the afternoon / pre-workout, I might have another black coffee, and I usually get Americanos, or I make my own coffee. And we use either a French press or an AeroPress for making coffee. Then I have usually 10 perfect aminos pre-workout. So I have quite a few of the perfect aminos, and taking them pre-workout is how I would usually take it as my recovery shake. So if you're used to having a recovery shake after your workout, I take 10 perfect aminos before my workout. Or if I feel like it's going to be a longer workout, I'll take 5 perfect aminos before, and I will take the Perfect Amino XP, which is their powdered drink, and I sip on that during my workout. Essentially the same thing, but you're taking it in liquid form rather than in pill form. So you can do it anyway, and it tastes pretty good, so I like to just be able to sip on that during the workout. Then what I'll also take pre-workout, or pre and post-workout, is the Blonix HMB plus creatine. It's just the best creatine / HMB product that I've taken. So it's, it comes together. It's great product to have. So you can, write that off or check that off your list as your creatine / HMB product. It just helps you to, you feel stronger. You feel like you recover a little bit faster. And both of those supplements have been proven scientifically many, many times over for many years. So you could look into that. But Blonix HMB plus creatine is always my go-to creatine / HMB product. Even though I test other ones quite often because there's a lot of different creatine products out there, I just always come back to the Blonix. And Blonix, I've also partnered with them, so if you want to get, I think it's 10% off, you can use the code AllaroundJoe to check out the Blonix HMB plus creatine. You can use that code pretty much every time you buy it. Then when it comes to post-workout, pretty much I'm just trying to signal my body to start recovery process, and what I will do is I will have an RX bar. Something that I should have mentioned earlier, though, is with the perfect aminos, they work much better if you haven't had protein or fat for a couple of hours, so you're essentially on an empty stomach. So what I'm trying to do is time them so I'm in that particular window, which I know they're going to work best in that case. So let's say, for example, I'm going to have my lunch, and I'm going to, at 12 or 1, and I'm going to work out at, let's say, 2 or 3, so I will time that workout and the consumption of the perfect aminos based off of 2 hours or so after my last feeding. And then sometimes you'll even forget a little bit. Or for example, let's say I have 5 perfect aminos and I only sip on half of my perfect amino powder, and then I sip or drink the rest of it after my workout. I will wait the 23 minutes, to be exact, after consuming that last sip before I'm having this RX bar or any other protein in my post-workout, okay? It will just help to get those aminos into your system all the way completely. Do you have to do it that way? No, you don't have to do it that way, but it is going to help with your recovery process, so I do it anyway. So let's say I end my workout and I had my amino acid shakes or drink still there. I drink that down, and then I would wait 20 to 25 minutes, and then I would have the RX bar. The rule of thumb is to try and have your post-workout nutrition, 30 to 60 minutes or as soon as possible. So doing 20 to 25 minutes is not going to make or break you. Then I will have, and obviously we're not talking about the nutritional part so much around this. I mean, all these things could be considered nutritional because a lot of them are ingested. But if you want to get more into the diet components of training and whatnot, check out allaroundjoe.com/88. It's a podcast that I recorded on how I set up everybody's diets, everybody who's my client's diet. So you could go ahead and follow that and follow along and get the gold if you are a mover and a shaker and want to do that yourself. And that's at allaroundjoe.com/88 is that podcast that has everything laid out for you. So the next things that I'm taking are before dinner. So right before dinner, then I'm going to pop another of the berberine, and I'm going to pop 4 more of the multivitamins. So I really prefer a multivitamin that has you take it twice a day rather than just once a day, just because it doesn't make sense to me to have one big blast of your multivitamin in the morning rather than splitting it out. The other thing is that, as you'll notice that, and as you've probably heard, a lot of things in the multivitamin you end up just being water soluble and peeing out anyway. So you're not really even guaranteeing that you're going to be ingesting all of those things. It's more just like an insurance program, which we all love insurance, right? So there's your multivitamin for you. And then before bed, I will a lot of times have another 5 perfect aminos just to get those all rounded out. Have some amino acids floating through my bloodstream as I am heading off to sleep. Then I do 3 to 8, actually, I do 6 to 8 squirts of Life Flow Pure Magnesium Oil Spray. Okay, and it's just in this spray bottle. It freaking lasts forever, so I highly recommend you check it out. I just get it on Amazon. I don't even remember how much it was because I bought it so long ago. It just sits on my bedstand, so after I hop out of the shower, I spray it usually under my arms, kind of like as a deodorant, because it can double as a deodorant. Although if you are a very sweaty person, I don't necessarily recommend that that is your only deodorant source. But you can spray it on any of your thinner skin areas. Usually they say when you're doing topicals to do it under your arm or, along your rib cage, because those are the thinner areas. But you could probably do it just about anywhere. So I do 6 to 8 of those sprays to get more magnesium into my system. And then I'll also do 3 Source Naturals magnesium malate pills. And that's just so that I make sure that my magnesium is completely topped off. I personally am not necessarily a magnesium expert, but I've talked to several people that are smarter than I am, registered dietitians and such, that have said to me that when you're a hard training athlete, a lot of you are going to be depleted or have less magnesium than you probably should have. And it doesn't hurt to overload the magnesium, because what the side effects are of having too much magnesium is going to be that you start to have more of a diarrhea, or you have to run to the bathroom really quickly. So if you're not having that, then you're not overdosing in your magnesium. So I can say that I know with this amount of magnesium, my body does not have that reaction. And I do notice also that if my magnesium is high, I tend to feel stronger. Or how I would say that again is that if I'm not taking magnesium at all, and then I start taking it, I do have a jolt in my strength, or my perceived strength in the gym, which perceived strength is pretty much just as good as actual strength, right? Because if we're feeling super strong, we're usually going to be stronger, and that is awesome. So that is how I round out what I'm taking. So I have the things for my brain, keep my brain firing in the morning, and some coffee or other caffeine source. And the thing is, I do the coffee, guys, and it doesn't have to be coffee. I think that there are certain things that affect people differently, different types of caffeine. I know that I also like the matcha tea. I'm probably saying that wrong, the green tea. But you can figure out what you want. I just highly recommend that you keep it to low carbohydrate caffeinated sources. So don't go getting that sugary Starbucks blend that they have. If there's sugar in it, you do not want it. That is not what you're trying to ingest at all. So I'm just talking about straight caffeine sources, and I think they work really great for me, but people are different and people have different sensitivities. So make sure that you're testing that out for yourself. I am not your doctor. I am just here telling you what I am doing. You have to do this at your own risk, and I definitely recommend that you check out or ask your healthcare professional before you try any of these things. I am always talking with people that are smarter than me and have more credentials than I do, so you should be doing the same. But those are all the things that I'm taking right now, and a lot of them I've been taking for a long time. The only thing that I haven't been taking for a long time or tried, is more of a newer thing, is the acetylcholine brain food. And I'm liking it so far, so I would buy it again. It's a cool product if you have the feeling like you want to think a little bit better and be able to remember things that are stuck on the tip of your tongue. So these are the supplements, or the supplements plus, if you will, of what I am taking right now and why I am taking those things. So if you have any questions, happy to answer those questions. You can drop them in the show notes or on the show notes page at allaroundjoe.com/134. There's a comments box down at the bottom. It's my favorite way for you guys to communicate with me because I will constantly monitor that and I get pinged when you ask questions on there. So allaroundjoe.com/134. And I also want to give you and highly recommend that you check out my Superhuman Body podcast series that I put together. So my Superhuman Body podcast series is a series of podcasts that I've put together of things that I use, like full spectrum on how to be superhuman. So how to be able to, be a competitive CrossFitter, run ultra marathons pretty much without much training, do triathlons, pretty much go on any adventure or be ready and strong and fit and six-pack abs, all that fun stuff all at the same time. So check that out. You can go to allaroundjoe.com. It will pop up or it'll be on the front screen there to check out and to get that for free, my gift to you. And if you guys need anything, always let me know. The All Around Joe podcast, where we optimize your human performance from my personal experience as an athlete, coach, and all-around self-improvement junkie. I will see you on the next podcast.